Hi folks, it's Hannah here on the other side of the camera for the first time since late January. That was when I recorded some videos to say farewell to social media. You all probably remember end of January, President Trump had just been inaugurated and many businesses, including Meta, were deserting DEI programs and ending fact-checking and anyway, I wanted to hop back on today with a little love letter with something that actually connects to that time. Wanted to share this book I'm reading. It's called How We Learn to Be Brave by Mariann Edgar Budde. That name may be familiar to you because she is the Episcopal Bishop of Washington, and she was delivering the prayer service following Trump's inauguration. And she was in the news, many of you may remember, because at the end of her 15-minute sermon, she made a plea directed at Trump, who was sitting there in the first pew, a plea for mercy for immigrants and transgender people. And I remember seeing that and thinking, who is this brave and incredible person? I looked her up and discovered she'd written several books, including this one, which is her most recent. At that time I ordered it at the end of January from our local library, and now here in mid-May it's finally come in, which I think is a sign that many other people also want to hear what Bishop Budde has to say, and so far it's a wonderful book. I haven't finished it yet, but it's called Decisive Moments in Life and Faith, and in her introduction she talks about it being a book about the decisive moments when we are called to act with courage, and much to our own amazement, we do. So obviously that describes, I think, the bishop in that moment of the prayer service, and many other times I was thinking about my own calling experience in 2009. When I had this call to become a minister after a dozen years of pursuing another life path, and as Joseph Campbell calls it, the hero's journey, or Bishop Budde writes, it's like this time when destiny calls us beyond that which we can see. So I'm excited to read this book, and the first chapter, Deciding to Go, it's called, is very much about that, hearing the call and deciding to follow it. But the second chapter surprised me. It's called Deciding to Stay. It wasn't what I was expecting, but she clears it up right in the beginning. She explains it this way. Because the call to go is rightfully associated with the adventurous side of courage, deciding to stay can appear as if we are settling for less. But in choosing to stay, we learn there is more than one way to live a brave life, and that some of the most courageous decisions we make are ones that no one sees. And I'll tell you, I read that and I thought about marriage. Deciding to stay in marriage. Obviously, if you have been married for any length of time, or you look around at marriages or talk to your loved ones, it's clear that deciding to stay in a marriage is not always easy and often does take courage. And I was happy that Bishop Budde actually talks about her own marriage as an example of deciding to stay. She describes how she and her husband Paul, been married almost 40 years and have been right at the precipice of divorce or separation. And she does, say at the beginning, in some circumstances, divorce is the most life-giving choice. But then she goes on to talk about marriage in such a beautiful way. This is definitely going in my sample reading library, so look out for it there. But she writes, the rewards that come through perseverance in marriage are many. Through challenges and sacrifice, we grow in our capacity to forgive, to accept, and to prioritize the uniqueness of another human being. Over time, we realize the privilege and responsibility of playing a supporting role in another person's life story. And I love this because I also talk about privilege and responsibility in marriage in my services. But she says, there is also the shared story of a marriage, the emotional space created in which others find welcome and sanctuary. A good marriage becomes solid ground upon which others can build their lives. And of course, the ground upon which we ourselves build our lives too. So thank you, Bishop Budde, for this beautiful reflection of the potential of marriage, of staying in marriage, and also for the reflection of the challenge sometimes of staying and the courage and bravery it takes to do that. She writes, "Choosing to stay is rarely recognized for the heroic journey it can be, and few may see the depth of crisis we experience as our lives hang in the balance. We are wrestling with profound questions of identity and relationship, the purpose of our lives, and the sacrificial nature of love. There is nothing passive or inconsequential in choosing to stay." So this really resonated with me. I hope it resonates with you and feels like there's a little nugget here for your own learning, your own life. And also just wanted to add, I know so many know me as a wedding officiant and premarital counselor, but I also do what I call marriage touch points. And that's a chance for you to come back in as a couple when you're going through this time of discernment or when you've made the decision to stay, and have a chance to talk about what that experience has been like within yourselves and between each other. And also, this is a time when people might choose to do a renewal of vows. When you have made the decision to stay and you want to mark this moment as important as your first decision to say yes to each other, the decision to say yes again and to keep saying yes to stay is a worthy moment of marking. So just sharing with you all this wonderful book, this decision to stay, this reflection of marriage, and the opportunities we have to work together in conversation or in ceremony. And please reach out with your thoughts. Let me know if you've read this, if you've decided to stay, if you'd like to come in and talk or plan a service. Stay in touch.